Hi hobby friends, let's talk about black metal. And no, I don't mean the genre of music, I mean this very cool alternative scheme for custodies, or really any dark faction in 40k. What we're looking for here is an efficient route to a black steel look. And after getting your little buddies built, based and base coated in black, we start the real work with a good covering of gunmetal grey from Vallejo's metal colour line. This is acting as our zenithal prime if you like. We're leaving a little black in the deepest recesses and downward facing surfaces, but generally covering the whole mini. When that's done, into the airbrush goes Duraluminium from the same range, which helpfully is a shade lighter than gunmetal. We're starting to build our highlights here. It's vital that even when working with true metallic metals, we pay attention to proper shading. That's what lifts a mini from looking like a toy soldier into looking like a miniature super soldier, your lighting. With that done, we round up our silver with some selective highlights of metal color aluminium. All this is a bit hard to show on camera, which doesn't do as well as the human eye with the huge dynamic range of metallics, but hopefully it suffices to say that we're closing in to smaller and smaller areas with each highlight, focusing on the upper surfaces of the minis and eventually picking out where we want focus, i.e. the face. I also concentrate some blasts of brighter silver on the blades of the weapons, which are going to be steel on these guys. Even here though, I'm focusing the bright highlights in spots to really push that metallic sheen. This whole true metallic metal outlook can be summed up like this: paint true metallic metals like you paint non-metallic metals, just with true metallic metal paints. We'll see that in more detail in just a minute with the trim. Okay, that's the custodians looking nice and silver, but this is a black metal tutorial, so let's get dark. It's as simple as filtering over with black ink. Well, maybe not. What I actually use is a combo of black ink and artist's matte varnish. The varnish does two things for us here. It knocks back the excessive shininess of the ink, so we get that nice brushed metal finish, and because it's artist's varnish, it's nice and thick, which lends the ink a bit of body, making them easier to handle through the airbrush. As always, I'm trying to reinforce my light as well, so I make sure I get the most coverage from the bottom of the mini and do only a light pass on those upper surfaces. Don't forget, just like regular brushwork, if you're looking for a smooth finish, you want to be working in several thin layers here. That's the big bit done. The black armour is finished. We're going to see this one through though, and next up is the trim. No speed painting tricks from me on this one I'm afraid, just good old-fashioned layering. I'm using 3 of the bronzes from Scale Colour's Metal and Alchemy set, starting with Decayed Metal. These are fantastic metallics, I definitely recommend them. There's a lot of trim on these boys, but take it steady and you'll get through it. This is by far the most time-consuming bit of the paint job. I've spoken before on livestream about the importance for me of seeing a scheme come together as a whole. I think if you really want to make sure you're balancing all your elements in one composition, you need to see them all progress more or less together. So with the first layer of copper down, I went in and added our accent colour, in this case red. I'm using Molotow Burgundy here. If you've been watching the channel for a while, forgive me for repeating myself, but if you're looking for a paint that covers evenly in one solid coat, you should invest in a few Molotow all-for-one paints. This isn't my final colour by any stretch, but it will block out the lower layers and give me a solid base to build from that's in the right chromatic territory. Okay, we're coming on now, but that hair colour is more of a mid-tone, so let's shade it up a bit. I have some Leviathan purple contrast paint on the palette, and I'm giving the hair an all-over filter with that. Using purple to establish our shadows here rather than black will give us a richer overall finish. Okay, back to the copper now, and we're going to start with the easy bit, the shields. The 2 colours I have out are Old Copper and Amber Alchemy. I've got a soft makeup brush at the ready and I work the Old Copper paint into the bristles, then brush most of it off. Pulling down from the direction of light, I start to establish a coppery highlight on the shields. With one pass of the Old Copper done, I do another smaller pass with the Amber Alchemy. This dry brushing technique will work fantastically to quickly establish light and definition on the shields, but it's a little too uncontrollable for our trim, so out comes the regular brushwork for that. This is where you can really get a sense of that paint true metallic metals like non-metallic metals mentality. I'm trying to observe where the light catches the trim, and of course using some artistic imagination and license too, and that's where I go with my progressive highlights using those same colours as before. If you're enjoying the video, by the way, give that like button a tickle to help other hobbyists find their way here, and subscribe for loads more content like this. There are links to a Discord server in the description where a fantastic community of supportive painters hang out, and if you want to support me in making more of these videos, you can do so for the price of one cheap coffee a month. I cannot stress enough how thankful I am to have a little coterie of awesome people willing to help out. Thanks friends, you rock. Okay, we could use a little more definition on the armour now, so out comes a bright silver speed metal from scale colour in this case, and on go some edge highlights. And that's basically it guys. Off camera I went in and highlighted up that hair with a dark then bright red and gave a similar pass on the gems that dot the panels, and when that was done we ended up with something that looked like this. Cameras and metallics don't mix so well when you're a bad photographer like me, but hopefully you can see that the attention paid on the trim leaves us with a rich, believable bronze effect, and by layering up ink over the silver for the armour, we get a deep, shimmery result that looks gorgeous on the tabletop. What do you think? Got any questions? Jump into the comments below and let me know. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you next time.